The lizard man of Scape or Swamp is allegedly a reptilian humanoid cryptid which is said to inhabit areas of swampland in and around Lee County, South Carolina, along with the sewers in towns near the swamp. Description: the lizard man is generally described as being 7 feet tall, bipedal, and bulky, covered in dark hair with scaly lizard-like skin on its hands, feet and face. It is said to have 3 toes on each foot and 3 fingers on each hand. A creature has an incredible degree of strength, more than capable of ripping into a car. A few witnesses have reported seeing a tail, although in the majority of cases, a tail was not seen. Davis sighting. The first reported sighting of the horrifying creature was made by Christopher Davis, a 17-year-old local, who said he encountered the creature while driving home from work at 2 a.m. on June 29, 1988. According to his account, Davis stopped on a road bordering Scape or Swamp in order to change a tire which had blown out. When he was finishing up, he reported having heard a thumping noise from behind him and having turned around to see the creature running towards him. Davis said the creature tried to grab at the car and then jumped on its roof as he tried to escape, clinging on to it as Davis swerved from side to side in an effort to throw it off. After he returned home, Davis's side view mirror was found to be badly damaged, and scratch marks were found on the car's roof, though there was no other physical evidence of his encounter. I looked back and saw something running across the field towards me. It was about 25 yards away and I saw red eyes glowing. I ran into the car and as I locked it, the thing grabbed the door handle. I could see him from the neck down, the 3 big fingers, long black nails and green rough skin. It was strong and angry. I looked in my mirror and saw a blur of green running. I could see his toes and then he jumped on the roof of my car. I thought I heard a grunt and then I could see his fingers through the front windshield, where they curled around on the roof. I sped up and swerved to shake the creature off. Chris's father, prompted by a story that ran in the newspaper of a strange car mauling, brought his terrified son to the Lee County Sheriff's Office on July 16, 1988, at which time he told his story to Sheriff Liston Truesdale. Strange car mauling. Prior to Chris Davis coming forward to report his encounter, the Lee County Sheriff's Office was called to the scene of a strange instance of vehicle damage. On the morning of July 14, 1988, deputies made their way to the residence, which was located in a small rural community known as Browntown on the outskirts of Bishopville, South Carolina. When they arrived, homeowners Tom and Mary Way showed them the vehicle in question. Police found that the chrome molding had been torn away from the fenders, the sidewalls were scratched and dented, the hood ornament was broken, the antenna was bent, and even some wires from the motor had been ripped out. Upon closer inspection, it appeared that parts of the molding had actually been chewed, as if an animal had used its teeth to inflict the damage. To further support the animal theory, the Ways pointed out clumps of reddish-colored hair and muddy footprints that had been left all over the car. While Sheriff Truesdale was investigating the car, locals informed him there might yet be another, more bizarre possibility. While we were there looking over this situation, we learned that people in the Browntown community had been seeing a strange creature about 7 feet tall with red eyes. Truesdale told us, some of them described it as green, but some of them as brown. They thought it might be responsible for what happened. Other incidents. In the month that followed the Davis sighting, there were several further reports of a large lizard-like creature, and of unusual scratches and bite marks found on cars parked close to the swamp. Most of these are said to have occurred within a 3-mile radius of the swamps of Bishopville. At the time, local law enforcement officials reacted to reports of the lizard man with a mixture of concern and skepticism, stating that a sufficient number of sightings had been made by apparently reliable people for them to believe that something tangible was being seen, but also that it was more likely to be a bear than a lizard man. 2 weeks after the Davis sighting, the sheriff's department made several plaster casts of what appeared to be 3-toed footprints, measuring some 14 inches in length, but decided against sending them on to the FBI for further analysis after biologists advised them that they were unclassifiable. According to South Carolina Marine Resources Department spokesperson Johnny Evans, the tracks neither matched nor could be mistaken for the footprints of any recorded animal. Evans also dismissed the possibility that they could have been made by some form of mutated creature. The sightings attracted tourists interested in seeing the creature and hunters interested in tracking it, and nearby radio station WCOS offered a $1 million reward to anybody who could capture the creature alive. However, reports of the creature began to decline at the end of the summer, with the last credible sighting of the year being reported in July. On August 5, Kenneth Orr, an airman stationed at Shore Air Force Base, filed a report with the police saying that he had encountered the lizard man on Highway 15, and that he had shot and wounded it. He presented several scales and a small quantity of blood as evidence. Orr recanted this account 2 days later when he was arraigned for unlawfully carrying a pistol, and the misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report. According to Orr, he had invented the sighting in order to keep stories about the lizard man in circulation. On July 30, 1990, Bertha Blythers and her 5 children witnessed a strange creature near Scape or Swamp as they drove home from a restaurant in Bishopville. At approximately 10:30 p.m., they crossed over the interstate and were nearing the intersection of Hickory Hill Road when suddenly a large figure appeared out of nowhere and lunged toward the passenger side of the car. In a statement given to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, Bertha described the creature as being tall, wide, and having 2 arms like a human. Quote, "She could only see it from the waist up, but there was no question that it was big." Quote, "She was not able to make out any clear facial details in the short time it was in front of her, but she was quite sure the body was covered in brown hair. I never seen anything like it before," she told the police. "It wasn't a deer or a bear. It was definitely not a person either." Contemporary events. In July 2005, the lizard man reappeared in television promotions for the South Carolina Education Lottery. In October 2005, a woman in Newberry, South Carolina reported to the police that she had seen 2 creatures resembling the lizard man outside her home. The responding officer, Michael Kennedy, apparently amused, told the woman that the creatures just like to check on humans from time to time. In February 2008, a couple in Bishopville, South Carolina, Bobo Dixie Rawson, reported strange damage to the vehicle, traces of blood, and a disappearance of some of the cats. Based on how the damage looks, some have claimed that this is the return of the lizard man. The blood traces from the Rawsons' vehicle were sent to a veterinary lab in California and were found to be from a domestic dog. Lee County Sheriff E.J. Melvin believes it was a coyote or wolf. Soon after the incident at the Rawsons' home, Lee County Sheriff E.J. Melvin discovered a dead cow and a dead coyote in a field next to the Rawsons' home. Interviews with lizard man witnesses were first seen on Animal Planet's Animal, then on YouTube, then on History.com's Monster Quest videos, Cold Cases page. That same episode showed that 300 pounds of torque would have to have been exerted by the alleged dog dog to cause that much damage to the Rawson's car fender, making it highly unlikely that the damage could have been inflicted by a stray canine. In 2010, on the TV program Destination Truth, Josh Gates and his team found lizard man footprints which they claimed to be a hoax, and concluded the creature was fabricated. His Destination Truth noted, the lizard man has become the focus of extensive local merchandising. The Lee County Chamber of Commerce hosts Lizard Man 5K run and sells Lizard Man shirts and their Lizard Patrol shirt. In 2011, Bishopville, South Carolina residents Leon and Ada Marshall reported that their car had been mauled by some kind of animal. Former Lee County Sheriff stated that the damage on the car looks much like the damage from earlier incidents. Deputy Fletcher Williams inspected the car and surmised that teeth were responsible for the damage, as if the car had been chewed up. Quote, to further suggest that an animal had been the vandal. A clear trail of saliva was visible from the front passenger door across the front of the vehicle to the driver door and on the discarded strips of bumper material. He also found long white and brown hairs. In 2013, the Lizard Man story was featured on the television show Mysteries at the Museum. In 2014, the Chris Davis's Lizard Man sighting was reenacted on the television show Monsters and Mysteries in America. In July 2014, a story regarding the Lizard Man sightings was mentioned during Ancient Aliens on History Channel's network H2. In 2015, a woman, who only identified by her first name Sarah, claimed to have taken a single picture of the Lizard Man with her phone after stepping outside her church on Sunday, August 2nd. Shortly after the picture went viral, a hunter who wished to remain unidentified released a 25-second-long video that he had taken in the woods near the same area, depicting a dark figure briefly moving through the trees in the distance, saying that he filmed it in May and kept its existence a secret until Sarah released her picture. Book Lizard Man, The True Story of the Bishopville Monster. The complete story of the Bishopville, South Carolina Lizard Man is told in this book by Lyle Blackburn. The book, published in 2013, covers the history of the Lizard Man sightings and examines popular theories regarding the true identity of this strange creature.